Hey everybody, and welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm laughing as the world burns.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Why don't you just describe the rest of my life while you're at it?
Fair enough. I was telling others that I was preparing for my my TED Talk, which is The World Should End in Chaos and Blood. I'm not quite sure how well it'll go over, but...
Not a black mass of morose despair.
I mean, that's pretty good, too.
I mean, a little bit of both. So what have you been up to since last we spoke?
Played a lot of Final Fantasy 15, been hanging out with Nocto and the boys.
And how are you finding 15?
You know, it's alright. The characters are well done.
I'm really sad that it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Which was?
So originally it was supposed to be a very dark game. That was the dream of the original guy that was directing it. Yeah. But that guy went kind of insane. So he didn't deliver after like 3 years. He's like, oh no, I need another like 8. And like,
yeah, sounds about right.
No, you don't. So they fired him and scrapped the 60% of the game that was completed and brought in somebody else, and they just rushed the thing out.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's not like bad. It's pretty entertaining, but it suffers from a lot of the problems open world games suffer from.
Yeah, some of the original ideas made it into like the side game for 15. I forget the name of it. But that's what it was originally supposed to be, a whole game of that. But instead we got not well fleshed out open world game.
Yeah.
But here we
Nocto and the boys. The characters are well written and well realized, but the world could use some work. It's fine. It's pretty good. It's fun. Some of the combat can be a little frustrating with the camera, but...
I've got a friend thinking about playing 9 because he's never played it.
9's so good, though.
Of course, he also likes 8. So
well, you know...
We all have our faults.
We do all have our faults. But 9's real good, though.
It
like
is.
8, here's the problem with 8. It's literally a broken game.
That's what I keep trying to tell him. Plus, Squall is literally the worst character in any FF game.
Pretty bad character. The bad guy's also really bad. But like seriously, like you can start doing max damage at like level 3 with the right build. So
I just remember being able in the very first boss fight, realizing, hey, wait, if I just keep drawing mana out of this guy, I have infinite mana. And that's the game.
Yeah.
Turns out, I found this out today actually, that if you keep drawing with one character and never like summon using that pool of mana, that somehow that builds until you use it. So if you don't use it at all, you can one-shot the end boss.
Oh yeah, no, there's all sorts of problems with that game.
I did not know that, and I'm not surprised.
The combat's kind of broken-y.
Yeah.
I mean, 9's real good.
That or Super Robot Tyson OG Saga Endless Frontier again.
Or you could just wait till Pokemon Sword and Shield.
And what's the difference between that and any other Pokemon game?
It's the first one on the Switch, so it's like fully 3D. So it's the first one on a mainline console. Have you not seen the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer.
It looks pretty boss.
I'm not big on the Pokemons.
It's got a Scottish girl. She talks like Scottish Twitter. At least that's what everybody wants.
My question is, what continent does it take place on this time?
British Isle. It's British Isle themed.
I wonder if they're at war with the France one.
I don't think so.
They should be.
Oh, XY was so good, though.
I watched some of the Boogie Pop anime. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
I was underwhelmed because Boogie Pop doesn't whistle, which is what they should have titled the anime. But it inspired me to go read the original light novels.
Yes, you told me about that.
So I read the first 3.
Yep.
They're okay.
I mean, they're light novels.
In retrospect, I'm not really sure how those particular ones kicked off basically everything since then.
Have you ever read All You Need Is Kill?
I have not.
You know, you really should read that.
I know they're making another live action movie with what's his name again? Tom Cruise.
Here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
If they're going to make a sequel movie to their bad version of All You Need Is Kill, they should really just re-release the first one and not tell anyone that that's what it is. That would be very good.
I don't see them doing that, but I would also appreciate that very much.
Yeah, see? Be a good joke. Be a good goof 'em up.
Also, I'm still watching the Slime Show. The first half of the season was good-ish. The second half got bogged down in dumb.
In panty shots?
Well,
Shocking.
I obviously did not look up much about that show because it's just there. It's a shonen show, whatever. But it has 13 light novels out.
Oh, golly.
Just like Overlord. But in the Overlord series, we got 3 books per 13 episodes, right?
Yeah.
With the Slime Show, there's less happening, and they're doing 4 books in 24 episodes.
Oof.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit. And he's OP, like way OP. It's not a fun kind of OP.
Yeah, it's not like a mob or a one pun OP.
Right. Or I mean Overlord's OP, but he's pretty unsure of himself. Slime is not unsure of himself.
Yeah.
So
disappointing.
But Mob Psycho, I didn't think it was gonna get like super great. I was wrong. And I'm not gonna tell you why, because it's a giant spoiler.
Well, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just waiting until it's all out, all 13, and then I'm just gonna marathon it.
That's fair.
Because I'm not gonna sit here and wait.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you that if you get a couple episodes in and you're like, this isn't really living up to my expectations, there's a turn.
Well, there's almost always a turn.
I
trust one, okay? I trust him.
Do you trust his story, or do you trust his art style?
Both.
Really?
I trust his art style to be weird and out there, and I trust his story to entertain and be more thoughtful than you would think.
That's fair. Well, speaking of weird and out there and not knowing what to expect, you want to talk about weird dog dolls?
I was honestly about to say that, shocking no one, Death Stranding is behind schedule.
I don't even know what that is.
That's the next Hideo Kojima game.
Oh.
Did you see where he saw Into the Spider-Verse and like gushed about it on Twitter?
I feel like I vaguely saw something about that on Reddit.
Have you seen Into the Spider-Verse yet?
I have not, because I'm not a fan of Marvel.
It doesn't matter. Do you care about good animation? You have to see that movie.
It's one of those, I'll wait for Netflix.
No, you don't want to, because you want to watch it in like the highest def humanly available.
I'll wait till Netflix. I'm good.
You're missing out. If you claim to enjoy good animation and you're not watching Spider-Verse, you're just a liar.
I don't remember ever making that claim.
Well, you should watch it.
I will watch it sometime. I'm not going to spend $13 to watch it. I can tell you that.
Well, then I don't know what's worth $13.
Me neither. Not much these days. Actually, there's one thing that is worth it.
A small pink dog plushie?
Yeah, that breaks your brain.
Now that's a way better segue.
It breaks your brain.
Just throwing it out there.
So for this episode, we decided to reach back way back in time.
When did this come out?
This came out in like 2004. So 14 years ago.
Boo.
I was in college. I don't know where you were.
Yeah, 2004. Yeah, it was a novel by Satoshi Kon, because it's Satoshi Kon. Now I've just depressed myself that Satoshi Kon died.
Yeah. Every time I look at the wiki page, I just get very upset. And when I watched the last episode of this, I got very upset.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we're not getting any more of this.
How dare he? How dare he?
Well, it's a little ironic that we're recording this on the same day that Alex Trebek announced that he has stage 4 pancreatic cancer.
Oh, no.
And we're talking about Satoshi Kon, who died of pancreatic cancer.
Well, there you go.
Pancreatic cancer is not cool, guys.
It's not.
It robs us of the greats.
It does. I didn't know he did Jinro.
He did a bit of it. He also had worked on a couple episodes of the original JoJo OVA.
Oh yeah, so he did.
Also, I'd like to point out that Satoshi Kon released 4 movies and a TV series within a decade.
I've never seen Tokyo Godfathers. It's supposed to be very good.
It is.
I still think Millennium Actress is actually his best work.
Storytelling wise, I would probably agree with that.
It's so good.
Visuals, I'd go with Paprika instead.
Paprika has some amazing visuals.
Like,
but
Paprika
I was not as
is
big a fan of the story.
Is probably his best editing work,
That's probably true.
bar none.
It's
Although
probably
Tokyo
true.
Godfathers has a good mix of all of that.
Annie got the manga of Opus and really loved it, and it's very upsetting. Because it ends on a cliffhanger where he was like, yeah, I actually want to adapt this into an anime. La-di-da.
Okay, let's try not to get too depressed. Anyway, this episode we decided to watch Paranoia Agent, which is Satoshi Kon's only anime series. Fun fact, though, he actually came up with the idea of Paranoia Agent because he had a bunch of ideas from doing his movies that couldn't be really adapted into any of his movies or into another feature-length film. So a lot of Paranoia Agent comes from a mishmash of those things.
I mean, that would make sense, especially since like it has so many like good standalone stories. It's really, its backbone is very similar to Ghost in the Shell, where it's got this sort of standalone, complex sort of dealy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the back half of Paranoia Agent is definitely influenced by those short thoughts, I feel.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get into spoilers and all that, everyone should go see it because Satoshi Kon was a genius and the world was robbed of having more of him in the world.
However, there's nowhere you can really watch it, so
find it
good
anyway.
luck with that. Yeah, sorry.
So what were your overall thoughts of Paranoia Agent?
It's really good. This is actually my first time watching it. I
Really?
never saw it when it was coming out. Yep.
Huh.
I didn't watch it when it was coming out, and then it wasn't available anywhere, so...
Okay, well, this will be interesting. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, it's really good. I mean, it explores the same themes that Satoshi Kon is almost always exploring.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought the first half was better than the back half. His ability to write a dark humor is really on full force, because a lot of his other works that I've seen don't have much dark humor in them. A lot of them are just very serious, but this has some really good black comedy, like really good.
There's one particular episode that I'm thinking of right now that's just nothing but.
I mean, there's really two, right?
Really? What's the other one?
Good Family Planning.
That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, but the one right after that is also like a really good dark comedy.
Oh, yeah, with the housewives?
Yeah. And the end of that has like one of the best like just dark jokes.
I don't even know if it was a dark joke or just like a dark satire that was humorous.
It's like a little bit of both, right?
It's got to be.
It's good though.
So this is my second time watching it, and I have to tell you that watching it when you're a young guy versus when you're my age now, completely different viewing experience.
Wouldn't know, I'm afraid.
I know you wouldn't. So when I watched it back in college, it was basically like a supernatural thriller for me. There wasn't a lot there. It was available to me. I just didn't know how to grab it. So watching it again now and knowing how he does things, there is a lot of social commentary wrapped up in this thing.
Oh yeah,
like
no, it's
tons
it's
and
very
tons
dense.
and tons and tons.
Yeah, it's pretty dense.
You could write probably a couple PhDs on this work. It's his only anime series, so it's not like it's also his best. I guess it means that's also his worst.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. I guess if you want to say that.
It does do Satoshi Kon's thing of you're never quite sure on purpose whether you're looking at something that's real or something that is either metaphor or like internal thoughts / dreams.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of his shtick, right?
It is his shtick.
I mean, one of his major themes that he always loves to explore is what if what you wanted to be real was?
In his movies, though, it's pretty, I wouldn't say it's black and white, but it's more noticeable when something is real versus when something is imagined or in a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Like Paprika, for instance. Everybody knows when
well, and that's one of the
dream,
things
right?
that's one of the reasons why I don't like Paprika is because it's probably the clearest of all of his works.
Well, Millennium Actress is kind of the same thing.
Little bit.
Reliving her past.
Yeah, but it's so different.
But this one, Paranoia Agent, it blends those things in such subtle and interesting ways that even in the end, and we'll probably have to talk about this, did any of that actually happen or not?
Good question.
I don't know. Let's do spoilers. Lots of spoilers now. Let's talk about the op first.
Oh, the opening's so good.
I had
so
forgotten
great.
how good this op is.
Oh, it's so good. I watched it every time. Every episode I watched the op in its entirety.
It's one of those ops that I actually had in my iTunes for many a year and would actually listen to just because.
Yeah, it's real good.
I still haven't, even to this day, figured out exactly what it's trying to say about all the characters, other than by the end, you're sort of left wondering, have they all gone crazy? Or have they all adapted the detective's wife's stance on life and are actually defeating their fears?
Maybe. I'm not sure it's either of those things. I think it's a lot more of just an attitudinal thing, right? Where it's very much a piece that's about willfully ignoring things that you should not ignore.
Yeah, I can see that. That's what most of them do. Although, the detective's wife is also in there laughing, so...
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's not even necessarily a comment on the characters themselves in the opening, right? It's just an opening animation. So I think it has more to do with the attitude of the piece you are about to watch rather than necessarily a meta commentary on what the characters are actually like in the universe.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea that it is both. I like the meta commentary, and I love openings that do that. There aren't too many of them. So, how do you want to tackle this fish?
That's a big fish to tackle, right? And it's hard to even just go over the characters because there's so many.
There's so many characters.
It weaves them all together extremely well.
Well, we could give a short synopsis, I think. So the short synopsis of Paranoia Agent is that there is an illustrator who has come up with a great new mascot, because Japan loves its mascots, and is under severe pressure to make another one. So she's walking home one night, feeling the pressure, and she's attacked by what she describes as a young boy with golden roller skates and a bat. He attacked her.
Yeah, breaks her leg.
Breaks her leg. It's terrible. And then suddenly, a bunch of other people start getting attacked. There's a reporter that gets attacked, a young boy who's attacked.
Two young boys,
one of which was accused of having been the assailant.
Shounen Bat.
Shounen Battle. And then many other characters, and it spreads and spreads and spreads and spreads. Like lots of people.
Yep.
Two detectives are on the case trying to figure out who it is. They start off just with the one case, and it just grows and grows and grows until it breaks the two of them. They do catch a guy. He ends up dead while in custody. They have to resign in shame, and then their lives go to pieces. And then it's all revealed at the end that it was all made up.
Sort of.
The whole thing was made up.
The initial attack was made up.
It is revealed at the end that the illustrator, Tsukiko, way in the past, 10 years ago, she had a little puppy. And through her own negligence, it ran out in the road and died. And instead of owning up to it, she blamed this mysterious attacker with a bat. She claimed he hit her or what, but it's his fault that the dog died. Spoilers, the dog dies.
The spoiler does die. Dog super dead.
Very dead.
When she mental breaks at the beginning of the whole series, her mental break is her being attacked by the Shounen Bat again. Because that's how she has sort of coped with this in the past.
And then once there's another attack, suddenly it starts spreading. All these people start realizing that they can use that subconsciously or consciously, it's not really clear. They can use Shounen Bat as an escape from their problems, for good or ill.
It becomes kind of a horrible psychopomp. It's bad. It's bad scene.
It's, literal psychopomp. It spreads through rumors. It spreads through social media at the time, through TV, everywhere. And it grows and continues to grow out of control until it can't be contained anymore. Depending on how you read the end of the show, there's a mass hysteria, essentially.
Yeah.
There's only a few characters that can defeat it. One is the detective's wife, who ends up realizing that she's just going to accept how reality is and not escape into a false reality, which Shounen Bat kind of represents.
Represents/is.
So when she laughs in his face, the manifestation of Shounen Bat vanishes. She's the only character to actually defeat it.
That is correct.
No one else really. Well, I guess Tsukiko does at the end once she owns up to her own mistakes. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I guess let's talk about characters.
I mean, I suppose there's so gosh darn many of them.
I
guess we should just go over the ones that are in the op, right? Like that seems the most sense.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just gonna run through like the main characters. Let's start with Tsukiko. So Tsukiko is the character designer who actually makes this popular character called Marumi. It's like a little dog thing.
Yeah, Marumi.
She's hard to pin down. At the beginning of the show, she obviously has this attack. But throughout the rest of the series, up until like the last episode, her personality is just really weird.
Yeah, she's a weirdo.
I don't know if that was a conscious decision on Kon's part to say, I'm not going to let you trust anything this girl says.
Oh, of course. Of course it is.
I mean, she's crazy.
Do you think Kon ever did anything unintentionally in his entire life?
No. I don't think he did. But it's unusual that we're presented with this character who's clearly nuts. But she's also claiming
she is a powerful creative force.
She is a creative force. So you're just left wondering, is she just one of those creative types? Or as we learn later that she's always been super introverted because her dad was really hard on her?
Yeah.
Or is she really nuts?
Well, I think what's also interesting too is like in that first episode where where Marumi talks to her already sets you up of like, okay, so she's a little bit baddie.
Well, see, you think that, but again...
Baddie.
I get it.
Baddie.
But it's also something that Satoshi Kon did. He's very good at just throwing things in that they may be crazy, or maybe this is just my way of externalizing their inner monologue. Who knows?
Well, no, of course. Yeah, no, obviously.
So not only do we have like a unreliable narrator she's not even a narrator, unreliable character, but we also kind of have an intentionally unreliable director.
Yeah.
Tsukiko doesn't talk much. She's extremely shy. She's under constant pressure. And people around her end up dead. A lot.
Yeah, a lot. Beaten or
stabbed or
otherwise dead.
If you ever happen to work on an anime yourself, and someone comes to you with a pitch for a small moe blob dog thing, don't work on that show. It's just a bad idea.
Do that. It's a bad idea. Bad scene.
Everyone's dead. How about Shounen Bat?
Shounen Bat? What's there to say about him?
Everything.
He's a serial batter.
Well, there's so many manifestations of him.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
So you've got, let's see, you have his original incarnation from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the Redux edition of Tsukiko's initial assailant report. And then you've got the kid who's like, hey, that's a good moniker and all that stuff. I have boots and such. I'm going to go hit people because I'm driven by a mysterious holy force to hit people who glow red.
Yeah.
Like the fat kid.
And he's also kind of nuts.
So you got that. Then he kills himself. Then you got...
Maybe he kills himself. Maybe he kills himself.
You got ghost version of him.
It's implied that the Psychopomp Shounen Bat kills him, but I mean, it depends on how literal you want to take these things. Either way, he is killed by Shounen Bat. It is shown that he is killed by Shounen Bat, but how you want to interpret that is up to you.
Well, I would interpret that as the Psychopomp version has basically broken out of its shell. Doesn't need its shell anymore. It's now a living essence all on its own.
Well, see, but that's hard to that's a hard position to take considering Kozuka, who is the 100% for sure real human Shounen Bat.
Mm-hmm.
He only fesses up to attacking two people who are out of order in the storyline.
Yes.
Right? He only attacks the fat kid and the shitty dad. And in between that, there's 1-2 attacks, plus the attack of the reporter who is covering the initial attack of Tsukiko. Now, here's an interesting question. Who attacked that reporter?
You know, I still wonder about that.
I know, right?
But he was skeezy enough to think he wanted a story. He wanted a story real bad. And he wasn't going to get it out of Tsukiko. Maybe he thought, I'll just have him attack me too. See what happens.
I think Tsukiko attacked him.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense, since he was following her.
And she blames it on Shounen Bat, because of course she does. And she's using a crutch, which is crooked in the same way that Shounen Bat's bat is crooked.
Ooh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
I like that reading. That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think she did it.
But my initial thought of when the kid kills himself and we see that ghostly figure run away, I still feel like that's Kon telling us that this idea of Shounen Bat is now bigger than a human vessel could even possibly contain.
Well, yeah, but he would have been bigger than that already, right? Because, I mean, there's 2 other attacks that take place.
I feel like at that point in the show, you've got a couple instances, rumors are starting to spread. They've captured a kid, but now the idea can't spread with the kid still locked up, right?
Okay, well, that's fair.
So now it becomes something more. It's not just, there's a guy, it's, he's a presence.
Within the fiction, it becomes something more because Maniwa reports that he saw Little Slugger go through a wall. Now, here's the other good question, and we never get confirmation about this, is did Ikari see he's the older detective, did he see Little Slugger go through the wall after killing
I feel like
Kozuka.
He did, but Ikari's the type of guy
himself.
That would never admit it, especially after everything that we've seen up to that point.
I would take either. Either reading is very acceptable.
Because he looks at that wall with mouth agape.
Yeah.
So
he does, doesn't he? But what really makes Shounen Bat jump the gap, right, between having some sort of physical manifestation and being a completely psychic phenomenon is definitely Maniwa basically going on Coast to Coast AM and talking about it, right?
That is literally what he does.
I mean, he basically, right?
And the sad thing is he was trying to do a service. He's trying to warn people about, hey, Shounen Bat is now still out there. You should watch out. But instead, it just fans the flames and causes the whole thing. So according to Wikipedia, the next main character is the little dog, Madomi.
Well, I mean, I guess he is. I guess he's a character. He's the flip side of Lil Slugger, right? He's the flip side of Shounen Bat, where it's another character that has sort of spawned out of Tsukiko's mind, and it's sort of the light whose shadow is Shounen Bat.
How so? Like, what's the coin there that they're the 2 sides of?
Well, they're both the sides of Tsukiko, right? Both of them are manifestations of her imagination.
That's true.
And one is escape through positive fantasy, and one is an escape through negative fantasy.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, they even say so much. They even say as much in the show, right? Mm-hmm. Like Maniwa learns that from her dad, and Maniwa's a big believer in that. Is that they are literally one and the same.
Yeah, especially like the last episode where the giant Madomi keeps trying to save Tsukiko.
Well, even in the next last episode where Madomi says that he will always protect her, but so does Shounen Bat, right? Shounen Bat, in a way, is also always protecting Tsukiko.
This is true.
He is there to prevent her from...
Well, actually, I may push back a little bit on that.
Realizing things about herself. Yeah, sure.
Initially, yeah, I would totally agree. I feel like in the back half of the series, though, once it's gotten out of control, like it's beyond any one person to control at that point. I think the show is trying to show us that the idea of Shounen Bat has gotten so big that it's swallowed its own creator. Now, she does overcome it herself. I mean, maybe. Which is good. But it does overtake her, and we're literally shown that it overtakes the Madomi presence as well, even though it tried to hold it back.
Yeah, but it's still trying to protect her, right? It's a negative protection rather than a positive protection. I mean, both are kind of negative protections, to be honest, but they're both types of escapism.
One is escape into despair, and the other one is escape into happy land.
Yeah, but I mean, even when Shounen Bat's doing his worst, it's still a protection mechanism.
That's fair. How about Detective Ikari?
I like him. He's really the hero of the piece, right?
He
like
is.
At the end of the day, he is the hero.
I agree with you, but there probably is an argument to be said that Maniwa at least is trying to be the hero of the piece.
I mean, yeah, literally, right?
He's not doing a very good job of it.
He takes upon a very literal hero persona.
Well, he takes on the helm of
he falls into his fantasy of a hero persona.
He learns of that even from Kazuka, the physical Shounen Bat, and takes it upon himself to become this guy that goes out and kills
Radar Man.
He's not gonna kill Radar Man, but he's on a quest to kill Goma, or in this case, Shounen Bat.
Shounen Bat.
Yeah, who is I forget if they exactly say what Goma is. It was the essence that
I believe
Kozuka was going after. So he saw people who were infected with Goma as glowing red, and so he hit him with his sword, or bat, saved them. And he was on a quest to find out what Goma was, but...
Pride. It's conquering the devil. Haughty, arrogant pride.
Nice.
It's literally just a Japanese word.
Oh, well, that's convenient. Thanks, subtitles.
No, I thought it was. It's like a Buddhist concept as well, if I recall correctly.
Well, that would make sense, because all these people, when they are infected with that issue, they are extremely selfish in that moment.
Except Ushi, right? He's the one that never fits.
Ushi.
The fat kid.
Oh, yeah.
I think he is attacked because if we are to take there are pictures taken of Ushiyama being bullied.
Mm-hmm.
And I would read that Kozuka is the one taking those pictures. So in his mind, Kozuka in his mind assumes that Ushiyama wants to escape. But
that makes sense.
Ushiyama does not, and that's why he doesn't fit, because he's not actually backed into a corner. But since a human being attacked him and not the actual sort of psychopomp of Shounen Bat, that's why. Because he's a copycat. He is a standalone instead of a complex.
I like it.
He can attack Ushiyama because he's just going off of what he thinks as a free acting agent rather than Shounen Bat, the concept, who attacks you on a different level.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I'm totally for that. Back to Ikari. He's that tough, like middle-aged dude.
Yeah.
He's got a big heart, but he doesn't know how to show it to anybody.
Yeah. I mean, he's the spirit of the past generation.
He is, and every time I saw him, all I could think was No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Which made me think that this whole show is just no anime for old men.
Well, and it's a very similar character as the old guy in True Grit.
Oh, yeah.
John Wayne's character in the original. Who is he in the remake? The remake's better than the original. I will fight you on that one.
Jeff Bridges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges.
And it is better than the original. You have
It's
no
mostly better than the original for no other reason than the female actress in the original can't hold a straight face, and that character really needs to. The modern actress is just so much better at being clever and hard.
Well, Ikari is clever and hard.
He is.
But he doubts himself so much, and that is kind of his downfall.
Of course he would.
He knows that Tsukiko was lying from the get-go. Yep. But because Maniwa is insistent on being... he wants to be that hero character, right? Especially at the beginning. And he feels like, no, we got to listen to this person. We got to hear their story, be very comforting to them, and then we'll find who did this. Even though Ikari's like, no one did this. She made it up.
Yeah.
He is convinced that, well, maybe, there was another attack, so I guess we gotta...
I guess I was wrong. Attack she did.
Yeah.
100% she did it. Because the first three attacks are all human agents, if you ask me.
I would definitely agree with that.
100%.
In the back half of the show, once they realize, they find a witness that actually saw the initial quote-unquote attack. They're told that, yeah, she was alone the whole time. She hit herself with a pipe.
But here's the real question. Does she believe that does she really, truly believe Lil Slugger did it? And I would argue that yes. While she faked the attack, I don't believe at all until the end of the show that she believes she faked her attack.
I think she knew, but she believed her own lie. Because when she was confronted with the whole thing, she broke. She
sort of knows deep down, but again, the voice in her head of Marumi, of course, tries to protect her from realizing that she's lying to herself. Several times it does this.
Well, I was going to say that once the detectives realize that and they have to resign, I feel like Ikari's character becomes like that grounding force where everything else in the world is going crazy.
Yeah, until he goes crazy.
He does go a little crazy. It's hinted at in one of the earlier episodes that he's very nostalgic for the past. He really likes carrying around this little matchbox. It's like, yeah, they don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
And he always smokes the same cigarettes from way back when. But in the second half, yeah, he sort of starts escaping into just, why can't everything go back to the way it was? Because everything was great back then, even though all I'm doing is looking at the past through rose-colored glasses. But he breaks out of that. And why? Because he loves his wife.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Or because his wife loved him.
It's probably more that. But because of the love of a good woman, he breaks the curse. And then we have Maniwa, who just goes nuts. There's no two ways about that one.
Yep. He completely breaks down.
I'm not really sure why, though. Like, most of the other ones, I get. His is...
Well, he's very tragic, right? Because he sort of sees through it all, but sort of seeing through it all makes him not ever be able to sort of reclaim his grasp on reality.
He's a very noble guy. And you feel like at the beginning of the show, this dude, the older detective, he just doesn't know what's going on. And so this guy's gonna, he's being very kind to all the people, where Ikari is being very angry and yelling at people, bad cop.
He's the good cop to Ikari's bad cop.
Yeah. But Maniwa is very compassionate. And as the series progresses, he gets more and more... you think he's going to solve the case and set everything right. But he sort of takes that...
He kind of does, but kind of super doesn't.
I feel like he got so wrapped up in the idea of being a hero that he just snapped.
Oh, yeah.
And he took it way too far. So now he's not the hero anymore, because he is just smacked down immediately at the big climactic battle.
Because again, everybody falls into themselves. Everybody starts pretending, and that's sort of everybody's individual downfalls.
Mm-hmm. Never facing reality.
Yeah, exactly. It's a show about excuses, and the more excuses it's actually very Jordan Peterson, right? It's very much like you lie, and your lie becomes a monster that destroys the world. It's that's the show.
I would say that this show has a lot to say about, I wouldn't just say current political climate, but just the world as is forever.
Yeah, when you lie to yourself, the world falls apart.
Yeah, so don't do that.
Don't do that. It's sort of the message of the show, right? Which is, when you lie to yourself, the whole world explodes. So try not to do that.
Good point, though. Them all falling into each other. Now that I think back, I don't remember anybody actually relying on someone else.
Yeah, only Ikari and his wife at the end.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's part of the problem, right? Because everybody falls into themselves.
Yeah, everyone only trusts themselves. No one trusts anybody else in this show.
Except maybe Ushiyama. Ushiyama might, but he is, again, an outlier.
He is an outlier
on so many different levels.
Maniwa does trust the crazy old man. I don't know if that counts.
No, because he trusts his version of the crazy old man.
That's true. Even the two detectives don't really trust each other.
Not quite. Not fully.
Ikari thinks that Maniwa is too naive, and Maniwa thinks that Ikari is he's just not with it. He's not with the program anymore. This calls for a new type of policing. Let's see. Are there any other characters you want to talk about?
I don't want to talk about the shitty dad, because he's a shitty dad, and he doesn't get his comeuppance in a way that is very satisfying. It's the only thing I really don't like about the show.
He doesn't, does he?
No, he doesn't. It's very upsetting.
I do want to talk about his daughter, though, because that was probably... I remembered he was a shitty dad, but I didn't remember how she found out that he was a terrible dad.
Because she's a very good person and too pure for this world, literally.
She was, and she didn't deserve that.
No.
And I also didn't remember how bad his screw-up was.
Oh, he's so bad. He's the worst.
She finds out after they built this whole new house. They just moved out of, not squalor, but a tiny 2-room apartment for 3 people. She's a daddy's girl, always has been. He's a terrible person. Prostitutes, corrupt.
Real bad.
Real bad.
Real bad.
Also, he wants prostitutes to call him daddy. That's weird.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad. It's very bad.
As she is putting wallpaper on his laptop to tell him happy birthday.
Yeah.
She notices that there are a bunch of pictures in the trash can of the computer, and she clicks on them and notices that they're from her room.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's very bad.
So when she goes to go look, it's not just that he set up a camera in her room. It's that It was
It's
in the
built
wall,
in. It's
and it
built
was
into the
wired
wall.
up. The house was designed with that in mind.
Yeah, it's real bad. It's real bad.
Real bad. And she breaks down. What I really had hoped would have happened was, instead of her getting amnesia, which was just, I know Kon likes to screw with his characters and does that very well. But I feel like in this case, she deserved justice. And what she should have done was spill the beans. Because she said, I want to destroy your happiness. And all she does is end up giving him a free pass.
Well, kind of, because he's pretty destroyed by the whole ordeal.
I guess in a sense that I wouldn't say he's redeemed, but
no,
the burden's not there. All the evidence is gone. His house is gone.
Yeah.
His debt to the mob is gone, but his daughter's also gone. So
yeah, he should have gotten it a little bit worse, but
and she should have gotten it better.
Yeah, but then again, isn't that sort of some of the themes of the show too, right?
There isn't justice all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
She relied on herself too much. Probably the coolest character. I don't even know how long we could go on about it, but the split personality girl.
Oh, she really is. That's one of the best episodes. Like, Double Lips is a great episode.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it like, oh no?
As you're watching that episode, you've got this nice, cute office lady who also has a split personality living inside of her that's just like being a prostitute. That's just how it is. She's okay with this, sort of, until her boss or her coworker at the university proposes to her. And she's like, all right, enough's enough. We need to get cured. We don't need that anymore. Yep. Maria, the other personality,
refuses to go
back hard.
Yeah, it's real bad. And just the way they leave messages for each other on the phone, it's good.
They do. And so it's like, if it is a true 50-50 split, Maria might be right. It could be Office Lady who's the fake one. Who's to say? Right. And if she's trying to destroy Maria, then Maria has every right to try to destroy her.
Yep.
And I should point out that up until Harumi actually takes all of Maria's things and throws them in the dump, Maria hadn't really screwed with her engagement at all. She was happy to let things just go. But then when Harumi did that, things got bad. And they started fighting in her head at the same time.
She gets slugged.
Which is weird because she doesn't get slugged. She was not one of the human attacks.
No, she's one of I guess she's the second true victim of Psychopomp, if you were to go with that theory.
I wonder how that
being the first.
I wonder how that attack
Harumi being the second
actually went down then.
How do you mean?
Well, I know that she went out to the street, fighting within herself.
Yeah.
And then she gets quote unquote hit. Yeah. But I don't know if she knew who Shounen Bat was at that time.
No. Well, because it's kind of a.
I don't know if she fainted in the gutter and then blamed it on Shounen Bat,
or it was blamed on Shounen Bat by others.
That could be it. She doesn't want to talk about it.
I could definitely see Yuichi having done it to himself.
Obviously,
that would make sense.
Yeah, good scapegoat there.
And I could definitely see Harumi, the cops at that point, just blaming it on Shounen Bat.
Was this Shounen Bat? Yeah, sure. I think the saddest thing about that whole thing is she does end up getting married
without ever telling her husband.
Well, that was her bad, not trusting her husband.
Yeah, real bad.
But also at the end of the show, I forget it was the last episode or next last episode, we're actually shown Maria in the same room with the husband.
Yeah.
He knows now.
and you don't know, well, maybe he hired her. We don't know for sure.
All we know is his closet changed.
Yeah.
It went from half white suits and half black suits to all black suits. I don't know what that represents. It represents something. But
probably
means something to someone somewhere.
Yeah, probably.
I will say that the editing in this show is amazing.
Oh, so good.
Because Kon is amazing.
They're so good.
And we can't do it justice. So I'm going to link an Every Frame a Painting episode in the show notes that everyone should go watch. That doesn't have spoilers for any of the other works that Kon did, but you have to go see it.
I mean, Kon Kon was brilliant. A brilliant, brilliant man.
He was taken from us way too soon.
Yeah.
Only 46.
Him and the guy that directed Whisper of the Heart.
Did he die?
Yeah, he did.
Kondo?
He was tapped to take over Ghibli.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. An aneurysm.
Yep. At 47.
That's pretty bad.
And he was tapped to take over. And just watch.
I wonder if Ghibli would have actually gotten better with time if he had stayed alive instead of what happened.
Well, yeah, because his son can't direct.
We actually argued about that at the office the other day, whether Ghibli peaked at Spirited Away or after Spirited Away. I feel like it peaked at Spirited Away.
Well, I don't know, because you got two big things there that throw a bit of a hink into that.
What do you got?
And that is Arrietty is amazing, and The Wind Rises is phenomenal.
I haven't seen Wind Rises.
Oh, it was robbed. It was robbed of its Oscar. Absolutely robbed. But that's because the Oscars are kind of meaningless sometimes.
I do need to see Kaguya too,
robbed.
So I can't make a judgment until I've seen those two. Well, speaking of all these great things that actually happened in anime, what should we watch next?
Well, I thought you already had an idea for that.
I think next we should watch the Bunny Girl show.
Oh, God. Why?
Because it's topical and people actually requested it.
But I'm sure it's not good.
Don't go into it with that attitude.
Well, I mean, I'll give it the old college try, but look, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I can go in with a sour attitude because I had a super sour attitude going into Brotherhood, and I am not afraid to admit how wrong I was about Brotherhood.
Really? You didn't want to give Brotherhood a shot?
Oh, shoot, no.
Huh.
The original was fine, and also, have you seen the first 6 episodes of Brotherhood? They're pretty shitty. They're not good.
They're not the best.
Because they are a condensed version of the first 13 episodes of the original show.
Yeah.
The original show, you're like, well, the old show did this better. Oh, the old show did this better. And then it turns, and you're like, oh, this is just great. I see. I was wrong.
Fair enough. All right. Well, next time we're going to watch Rascal Dreams of a Bunny Girl Senpai.
Why? How about you watch it, and then I'll just listen to you tell me about it. We'll just pull an Alita.
No, we gotta be in this together.
I mean, you still haven't watched Alita, so I'm not quite sure.
Brothers and such, right?
You didn't watch Alita.
Kyodai.
I mean, I guess.
All right, we will see you next time.
If there's a new host next week, don't blame me. Blame the Bunny Girl.